Hi friends, it's Lynn Como, and look at these gorgeous sunflowers. Aren't they just beautiful? This is my newest workshop, Floral Impressions, but in this video, I just want to show you how I created the sunflower look that you're seeing here. We'll be using this gorgeous 6x8 embossing folder by Stampin' Up, and we are going to emboss white willow paper, and then we are going to use inks in order to sponge them in with the brushes. So here's a really great close-up. So the colors that I will be using are Fresh Freesia, Blackberry Bliss, Pecan Pie, Early Espresso, Old Olive, and a little bit of Mossy Meadow. But I'm going to use the side of the embossed image where it's raised, and you'll see in the sunflowers that are the yellow sunflowers, there will be the debossed side. You'll flip it over and use that side. So let's go ahead and just show you these gorgeous, gorgeous sunflowers. And also what you'll be doing is we'll be cutting that one sheet apart as well to get this cluster, and this little piece down here. We're also going to be using the Impressions of Bloom stamp and die set on these pages. It's really beautiful to see that these are being either die cut, where you see that here, or we can do a little bit of stamping, and I'm using the same exact colors. We're using the Fresh Freesia, the Blackberry Bliss, Pecan Pie, as well as Early Espresso, with a little bit of greenery that's just being die cut. But I really love the look. Isn't that so pretty? The other thing that we're going to be doing is that oval. So this die cut oval actually is in here in this. So you have one that will cut out two pieces at the same time, and one that's just a little bit smaller than that. So we'll have fun playing with this look and enjoying the process. So the one thing you definitely want to do in order to get a really smooth embossed look is to spritz this paper with water. And I'm going to do it on both sides so it makes it really pliable. So when you put it through, it's going to basically give you a wonderful impression. Here, isn't that just gorgeous? So, so pretty. If you'd like to put it through twice to get maybe a little bit more edging going on or depression, definitely you can do that as well. So here I'll just show you this one on the right. I actually put through twice, and I do see a little bit of a difference in the depth of the embossing. So this might be the better way to go, is to try it, putting it through twice and getting that nice, rich, deep impression. Now I wanted to point out something else. When you're looking at this layout here, you're going to see the oval. I took the oval cutout here from the frame, and I also embossed it, but I forgot to wet the paper. So I wanted to show you the difference. If you can see here, it's got that cracked look, right? So here you can see, die cut it. I'm using both. Make believe this is the oval, but you can see this one I actually sprayed with water first on both sides. Okay, so you can see how rich that is. And once again, if you put it through twice, you'll actually get a little richer and deeper impression. But when you look at this one, you can see the little cracks showing. And if you like that look, then fine. Don't wet your paper at all. Don't spritz it with water. Just put it through. And you can actually sand this for a really cool look. So why don't we just do a little sanding so you can see what that looks like. For those that really enjoy like that really distressed look, this is definitely another thing that you can do to that beautiful embossed image. So the colors that we'll be using to do the beautiful sunflower will be Fresh Freesia, and I'm using my Blackberry Bliss because I don't have the bigger ink pad, so I have this from all the paper pumpkin subscriptions, you get a little ink spot. So I've been using those. Pecan Pie, Early Espresso, Old Olive, and if you have Mossy Meadow, I like that too. You can just use one green if you prefer, and if you would rather have one brown, that's fine too. But I'm using a mixture, and you can see how the browns are two-tone because that's what I've done, as well as the flowers. Isn't that so pretty? And the leaves. And I love the fact that when you're doing this, give yourself freedom to enjoy the process and not worry about being perfect. I'm going to show you that these things are imperfect. As you can see, I might have catched a little bit of brown over here. I might have caught a little bit of brown over here. And it doesn't really matter because in the whole scheme of things, it's going to look great. So what I'd like to do is start with the fresh freesia. And I really am enjoying this little glass mat that you can use. So sometimes when you're doing this, you might want to get some of the color onto a piece of scrap paper, your craft mat, and play around and go around. And I'm doing things first in a circular motion, but then I might want to go in and play with it, just going along the petals, basically using a soft touch because you can never take away, you can always add. So basically, this is the look that you're going for on all the flowers. We can go back in and add more if we'd like. Now you'll note this pretty little detailed flower right here. I'm going to pick some color up. So when you have a really wet ink pad, that's where maybe putting it on the scrap paper or the glass. I like the glass because I can just wipe it very easily. It comes with the couple accessories, and this is a really thick cloth that you use to wipe it off. But you're getting the idea of what I'm doing here, right? I find with the Blackberry Bliss, it's a really rich color that I'm going to be blotting it more so on the glass. So play around with your inks, maybe try some scrap paper and see what's going to work best for you. All right. So that's the start of our process. Now, if you have this in the Blackberry Bliss, go right ahead and use it. I'm going to use this little square right here. I like this other tray that's part of the accessory. You can actually even put ink in here, re-inker, water, and use it with a water brush. So here's where you're going to see, look at how rich that Blackberry Bliss is, right? So if you're looking at the flowers here, you can see that I don't want to use too much, but I want to make it just enough, right? So I'm going to lightly, you're pouncing a little bit, I'm going along the edges and picking up that beautiful, rich, it's like an eggplant color, but it's even a little bit pinky, oops, pinkier. I want to get this one. Let's move that out of the way for now. It really adds such a gorgeous color and detail. Okay. Once again, you can go back and add more color once it's all done to your liking. But I'm really liking the way that came out. But I'll show you it's going to look a little bit darker as we continue on because we're going to add some colors. Now I'm going to add some of the pecan pie. And you'll definitely like some of the smaller brushes. I don't have a lot of smaller brushes. So you're going to be mixing larger brushes, smaller brushes, whatever you have. I actually have a couple of other really small brushes. So check your stash and see what you really enjoy using. I love the pecan pie because it gives it a golden glow. So here you can see it's going to be a little different. Let me get rid of this for a second. I want to get in there with a smaller brush if you can. So it's going to pick up and catch some of the edges of the flower, but like I said before, don't worry about it. Let it go. Okay, so you can see how that's coming together. Just getting in there and using that just for that really pretty soft glow of the pecan pie. All right, let's move that to the side. And let's go and add a little bit of early espresso. So you can see I have another brush and I'm definitely going to use this right here. See how rich that is? It's really picking up a lot of color and I want to go around and I'm starting lightly. In that circular motion, I can pick up and maybe just try to catch more around the outside edges, or once again, use a smaller brush if you want more of the pecan pie showing through. So here's another little brush, and I'm just going to play with this one and see how I like it. Yeah, that's really going to pick that up right there. You can see how dark that one came out. So pouncing it on the glass or scrap makes a difference. But it's okay. I still like that look. And now I'm going to go back to that pecan pie in the middle. Just ruined it. We'll have to fix that. That's why you really want to pounce. So it's good for me to make a mistake to show you that sometimes using that scrap paper or a blotter, craft mat, this glass mat really makes a difference in helping you wipe off some of that ink and be a little bit more in control. All right, so that gives you an idea, but I want to fix that a little bit. So for me, fixing that is I'm going to use the Blackberry Bliss and just add a little bit more color right there. And it'll blend. Once we cut it out and use it on the layout, it's not going to be that big a deal. But I'm okay with that. So if you're seeing it this way, it really won't pop out so much. When you have it all on the layout, people aren't going to focus on your little faux pas. Okay, or I should say mine. So that gives you an idea of how you're going to do all of these. And then we're also going to play with some of the green. Let me wipe this off so you can see how easy that comes off. And this is Old Olive, and I have another brush for that. And this is another one. I'm going to see if I have a smaller brush to play with. Okay, we're going to start with our big brush. Going on my leaves. And I want to actually, I would like to add a little bit of that green in there. So go softly at first if you don't blend it on the mat. And then I do want to add some of this color here because you will be cutting this out for the layout. So there's a little green in here as well. So if you have a little bit of a smaller brush, try using that just to capture some greenery. In here, as well as covering in that little bit of a white area. Now I was thinking about it. Maybe I should have tried it on the Fresh Freesia cardstock, the light side, and seen what that would look like. But I don't know if I'd get the same depth of color as I'm getting right now. Sponge daubers. You could play with your sponge daubers. See how that's going to work for you. Really don't get hung up on the spottiness of a color because in the end it all blends, which is a really nice thing. So I'm really like using this smaller brush here. But that's okay. I'm actually going to be cutting around that. So you'll be able to see this is going to be a cut on its own. This is going to be another cut on its own. And then this down here will be another cut. So you'll be using all of them. So if I flip this around, you'll see we have, just so you get the visual. I'm a visual learner. Let's see if I'm too close. All right, so this right here is all of this. This quadrant, corner. This one over here. Is this side. So you have all of this over here. And then this little single guy is right down here. So let's see if you can see that. Sorry if I'm back and forth with the video as far as in and out, getting used to the location of the viewing, but that gives you an idea of how it's going to be cut. So I think I still want to go back and add a little bit more blackberry or maybe a little bit more fresh freesia and play around with that. But let me finish these beautiful leaves right here. Mossy meadow. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit richer in color. So pick and choose your spots where you want to add that. Just kind of rub that in there. It definitely changes the look of your leaves if you can get a little bit of that color in there. I'm going to go back with that little brush so you can see, pounce that in there. So you don't have to worry about all of the green, or white I should say, but just play around and feel comfortable with what you're doing. We're only doing one of these, which is nice, but when you're doing the sunflowers, I'm not sure, I think there might be three that you are creating, and you'll see that video as well. Okay, let's go back to that fresh freesia. I really love that rich look of the purple. I know everybody seems to love purple, and it's these two colors, fresh freesia and the blackberry bliss, are just so pretty together. Yep, so pick and choose what you want. Okay. Blackberry bliss. Especially on this one right here. And these sunflowers also make me think of mums. So there's no reason why you couldn't exchange that look, or I should say flower. Kind of like doing a mum. I'm not as particular about the, I should say, the depth of color of each petal. So just play around and just enjoy the process, and you'll complete the whole page this way. So I hope you found that really helpful. You're really going to enjoy Julie's video on how she did the sunflowers. It's absolutely gorgeous. And on her video, you're actually going to be using the debossed side to color in. So I love the fact that you're going to be getting different ways on how to use this beautiful embossing folder, as well as using it to cut out the letters. So stay tuned for all that great information. Well, I completed the flowers, and I wanted to go over another little detail that you might really enjoy. But before I do, just look at the gorgeous colors that you're seeing here. What I found was really appealing is after I did the pecan pie and the early espresso on all of the brown pieces, I actually went back in with the Blackberry Bliss and in a circular motion added more color. And that just seemed to really blend these centers of the flowers in a way, as well as make the inside area the darkest part of the flower, which I really enjoyed. Don't forget to use the Mossy Meadow if you have a small little brush like this, for the veins. It adds such great details. And it's not supposed to look perfect, because once you cut it apart, you'll see the difference on how these flowers really look. And you'll see how I went back with some Blackberry Bliss. So don't be afraid to add more color with Fresh Freesia, Blackberry Bliss, any of the browns that we used or the greens, and just highlight some of those details just to give you a little bit more color. For instance, around the bottom of the leaves, maybe a little bit darker green if you'd like that area, maybe a little bit lighter going towards the end. And I just love the fact that it can be whatever you decide. So I'm going to add a little more green right there so you can see how it covers up some of that beautiful purple look, but yet captures that detail. Isn't this just stunning? Well, now I'm really done. I wanted to, after I closed the video, I was like, oh, let me just show you the end result and any other tips that I can share. But I hope you really enjoy this process, and I know you'll love the next set of videos that Julie has on the sunflowers. I thought I'd give you a little tip on the stamping of these beautiful impressions of bloom flowers. They're so, so pretty, and you can do them in so many colors with ink, which is pretty amazing. And we do have leaves in here, but I'm just focusing on the flowers. Now, in this particular, on pages 1 and 2 of the layouts, I really wanted to use this paper to stamp on. So I'm using this pattern paper, and you can see here, I'm using the solid of this flower and the solid of this flower. These two here are the overlays. This goes with this goes with this. And then these will be on the strawberry slush layouts. So you'll get to figure that out. This is layer 1, layer 2, solid and the overlay. In this instance, we also have the centers, so I will be using all of them as well. So the colors are Fresh Freesia, Blackberry Bliss, Pecan Pie, as well as Early Espresso. So what I wanted to show you is you're going to stamp your solids right here first, and then you're going to take your overlays. And you want to match it up. Find, this to me is my little matchup right here. And once you do this, that's when you're going to want to die cut after you do this. So I'll probably just put the die cut on it and cut it out. So I might as well just finish these two, and then I have a couple of extra flowers. And then we have this cute little guy. So this point here is definitely what you're looking for to line up. And here I found there's a little 3B. This little 3 guy right here, this thick one, is this one right here. So you have your 2 larger flowers lined up here on this side, and then the 2 smaller ones are here. So you always want to pay attention to those details when stamping. Okay, we're done with these 2 colors. We're going to go in with Pecan Pie. And then once you do that, you're going to clean your stamps. And go right back in with the really cute top layer, which has little tiny dots on it. So let's go with Early Espresso. And I just like the way this comes out. So rich looking. Okay, so I'm going to die cut these and show you what they look like once they're die cut. So here are those beautiful flowers that we'll be using on this layout. Aren't they pretty, the way they come out? And I wanted to show you one more of these flowers for this particular layout. Hold on one sec while I get the... So we have 2 of these actually. So here is the other flower, and I'm going to show you how that is done. I'm going to right here. So we're not stamping, we're just going to die cut and do a little bit of sponging. So for that, you will need to use this die cut, this die cut, this die cut, and this one. So I will line this up, put them both together, which makes it nice and easy. Find the way this is orientated, put this through my die cutting machine, and let me show you how that comes out. So you can see here we have our flower, and what the middle piece does, it basically just gives you all these indentations. And now instead of stamping it, once again, we can use our inks to add some color if we want, just in the center. I think I wanted to use the Blackberry Bliss. Yes, just like that, just in the center as best you can. Or if you have a little sponge dauber, that would work quite well. And then once again, you will use the centers and stamp them in the Pecan Pie as well as Early Espresso. So let's do that right here. I'll just do one with you so you can see. And do the little one as well, and then you have the flowers that you need for the layout. And that's it. So they work so well together. You'll also be doing some of these flowers here. You definitely will do your oval. It's up to you if you want to add any of the small designs, which are kind of cool as well. Don't think I did it on these. Nope, I did not, but you can. And these 2 here are done in the strawberry. I wanted to show you this beautiful flower as well and how easy this is. I'm just going to show you the strawberry slush, but you can easily stamp the inside just like we did with a yellow or a darling duckling, and pecan pie overlay. But we're going to be using first and second generation. I like to have a piece of scrap paper handy. Just use any piece of scrap here. And we'll take our first layer and stamp it off on scrap. And you'll want to do, there's about 6 of these. So give yourself some space. And then you'll take the overlay and in full strength, we're going to go right on top. So I look for this split. It's like a V. It's pretty wide. And I'm going to do this right on top. Just like that. So you're using 1 ink to get this really pretty flower. And then you stamp the center. And then you go ahead and you use the beautiful die cut. Find that V and die cut it. I also want to show you how I got that strip of the sunflower to be so long. Or you can actually, you don't even have to do a full strip. You can just do a piece and then another strip of 2 because it's hidden by the oval. That's the easiest way to do it. So that's what I would recommend. You don't need to see me do it, but you could take this and cut it. I think it's 1 3/4. Cut 2 strips and put them together and hide them underneath the oval. And you are good to go on this layout. All right. I hope you found all of this information helpful and will really enjoy creating the Floral Impressions 10-page scrapbooking workshop. And stay tuned for the next set of videos with Julie on the beautiful yellow sunflowers.